Hi guys! Today, as part of our birthday celebration, I wanted to do some fairy wing coloring tutorials, and I wanted to give you this fairy wings practice chart for you to use. There are so many ways you can draw fairy wings and color fairy wings that I want to make it clear that this is just one of the many ways I like to color them, and it's not the right way. There is no right way. So hopefully that you learn a little something new and it helps you improve in your own coloring. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do markers on this side and then colored pencil on this side. This practice chart will be in the group for you to download. You just print it out to fit your paper. It doesn't really matter. So what I'm going to start with is, because for this one, this is what I call a simple fairy wing. This is really just like I don't know, I imagine it sort of having a feeling sort of like tulle or tall, I'm not sure how you pronounce that, or some kind of thin material. So I always think of that when I'm coloring them. And the first thing I'm going to do is just lay in my colorless blender and get it good and wet so that the colors we use blend. And then because it is a fairy wing, I'm going to do greens and blues and pinks maybe on this one. But you can use whatever colors. I really recommend pulling colors. If you watch my videos, I usually do the wings last. And the reason is because I like to pull colors out of the dress, out of the environment. If I do a background, I'm going to pull some of those colors in, because wings, insect wings in particular, not as much for angel wings, you know, feathery wings, but you still can with feathered wings. But insect wings, for the most part, tend to be very translucent and reflective. So I like to pull the colors in from the environment, from what the fairy's wearing, from her hair maybe, from flowers, and add them into the wing. But since we're not doing a whole fairy here, I'm just going to use some colors that I like together. So to start, I'm using YG11. It's called Mignonette, whatever that means. And I'm going to use, I had a paper jam earlier, so I'm just going to use that paper to show you this color in case you're using a different brand of marker. You just want this, it's sort of a, I would describe it as like a mint color with a little splash of lemon. So I'm going to go in with that. Excuse me, still getting over that cold. And I'm just going to go along the bottom here, little circular strokes. I'm not pushing down really hard. And this is sort of like a shade, a little shadowing. Here, let me pull that in. Hopefully I don't forget to move it. Okay, there we go. So, so this is sort of like a shadowing. And as you can see, I'm just making the shadows on the bottom. So I'm going to pull some right through here, and you know, however thick or thin you make it is up to you. It doesn't matter. Now you could take your colorless blender and just blend that out, and that would be it would be just a perfect simple fairy wing. But I would like to add a little bit of pink. So I'm going to use RV21, and again I will put it the color here so you can, whoops, so you can see it. It is a light bright pink. As you can see, it's kind of on the oranger side, but you know, totally use whatever colors you like. It really doesn't matter that much. And then I'm just going to pull this over the top, and I'm bringing it down into the green a little bit, as you can see. Maybe I'll turn it this way, and then pulling it along the top here. And you want it a little bit thick because we are going to add a little bit of highlight to this wing. So you want it kind of thick. And if you want to, you can go in and add, well, we'll do a little bit right there and a little bit right here. This will do there. Just like that. And now we're going to just take, let's do maybe an E50 or a pale yellow, and just to pull this all together and leave some white spots out. So we'll do E50. Hopefully it's good and wet. This is what E50 looks like. Oh, you can probably barely even see it, and I'm thinking I need to refill it, but it's sort of like a very pale sandy color. Oh, it's blurring. There we go. Oh, there we go. Sorry, my camera resets to auto on that sometimes. Anyway, you can see, any kind of light yellow will work. Don't worry about it. It can be a light beige, it can be a light yellow. Just, you want a pretty pale, lighter color because you don't want to see it too much. It's really just to add a little, just to blend a little bit, and mine really isn't blending well because it's not wet enough. I need to get, alright, let me try one of my yellows instead. Alright, I'm going to do Y11 because I got to refill that, and I don't want to spend the time doing that when I need to be getting this done. So Y11, it's not quite as pale as the E50, so it's going to show up a little more, and it's doing this again. Even though I turned it off, I thought. There we go. So there is your Y11. Just use a light yellow. All we're doing is pulling it in along the colors we laid down, and just outside the edge. It warms them up a bit. Oops. It warms them up a little bit and helps to blend. And you see I'm kind of doing this M shape here because I want it, I want it to be clear that that this wing has folded a little bit. And I'm going to zoom up, and hopefully my camera is not going to go ballistic with the whole blurring thing. So there we go. Now you can go in with a darker color to add a little more depth. I think I will do, well, let me see. Always, if you're not sure about a color, test it on some paper. I'm going to try YG25 and see if it's if it'll work if it's a little too dark. It's going to lighten up a little bit when it dries, so we'll go with that. And we're just going to take, so you can see this is a yellow-green, sort of like, I don't know how, it's like a medium yellow-green. It is a 5, so it's definitely a mid-level. Okay, and then we're just going to skirt around the bottom and see how we like it. And it is a little dark, but like I said, it should lighten up. And then we'll pull some up through here. Just a little bit around here maybe. There we go. And then we're going to take that YG11 and just blend a little bit. The YG11 is this lighter green, lighter minty, sort of lemony green. And then we'll just pull it through, blend it a bit. And if you liked it better without the yellow, you could always just use your colorless blender to blend the colors out. And I think I'm going to take I'll take the colorless blender and of course it's not gonna, anyway, it's a 0 colorless blender. And I'm just gonna take it along the pink and yellow just to soften it a little tiny bit. You can see right here. Okay, and now you can leave it like this. You can add some Wink of Stella, or I think I'm gonna add a little bit of Wink of Stella, just, oh, if I have it. Oh, there it is. I'm just gonna add a little bit because it's so cute. So I would put it down in the color and I would leave the white out. That way you still have your highlight. Your highlight doesn't get dulled down. And hopefully you can still see you can see the glitteriness. And that is a simple fairy wing with markers. Oh, come on. Yeah, it's just gonna, there we go. Okay. And that's just basic. And if you don't like the white, I would take I would do like OG20 over the white if the white is too bright for you. Like here, I'll just do a little bit down here. If you want. I like it fine with the white, but since I've already done that, I'm gonna pull it over just like that. And there is your very simple fairy wing. So the next thing we're going to do is what I think of as a simple insect wing or dragonfly wing. And the reason, I might have to, oops, sorry. The dragonfly wings are actually a lot more complex than this, but I like to color them in that kind of iridescent sort of way that dragonfly wings go. So what we'll do is we're going to add the highlights for this with a white gel pen because we want the highlights on this wing to be really popping out. So what we'll start with is, I guess we'll start with G20. And G20 looks like this. It's very, very light green. It's not a YG, but it feels a little bit warmer. So the main thing is that you want it to be very light colored. And we're just going to go over, first let's take our, whoops, almost forgot. Take our colorless blender so everything blends for us and just cover everything. Doesn't matter if you get out of the lines, of course, because colorless blender is clear. And then I'm just going to take the chisel end and fill it in quickly. It doesn't, it doesn't have to be perfect or anything like that because this is, just a base. And it looks dark right now, but it will lighten up as it dries. So then we're going to take, let's do a little bit of BG 32, which looks like this. See, it's a pretty, it's called Aqua Mint. So if you're using a different brand, it's kind of like a blue-green, turquoisey kind of color. Okay, and then we're doing something similar to what we did here with creating this roundedness in the wings by just pulling this down here. And I'm doing little roundish things. And I'm holding the pen back farther so you can kind of see what I'm doing a little better. And I'm going to try to leave a little space under where I'm coloring. So, but you don't have to, it's fine, because we're just going to go over it with the white pen anyway. And we want to pull this up a little bit. And just like that here. And then here. And then we're just going to go kind of along the line there. Okay, now the next thing we're going to do is take a, let's do B00, see what happens. And play with the colors. I mean, this is just what I'm using. You should use whatever you're feeling like, whatever will fit with your fairy. Just like with the other one, you want to pull colors out of the environment, out of the fairy, and use them here. Maybe even more so because this is a insect, a very reflective, shiny dragon wing, and this is what the B00 looks like. It's like a very light sky blue. It is actually called Frost Blue by Copic. Okay, and now let's take a little bit of purple. This might be too light, but I'm going to try V12, and if the V12 doesn't work, we'll go probably to the V4, but let's have a look. So here's V12. It's sort of like a light to medium lilac color. It's called pale lilac, but it's a little darker than pale to me. I don't think it's very pale. And then we're just going to pull that down inside the, oh yeah, that's plenty dark enough. We're just going to pull that down inside the shadow. We want it to be smaller. We don't want it to cover all of that blue-green we just used. Just a little bit. Just like that. And now, let's see. Do we want to add more colors, or do we just want to start with our highlights? Let's do some pink. So I'm going to do RV13. You can do the same pink. You can do the RV21 if you want. This is RV13. It's a little bolder, a little darker than the RV21. It might be too dark, but I'm going to do it anyway because I like to experiment. And we're just going to do just right down here along the bottom. And, you know, make sure you bring it up into the purple just a little bit. If you cover the purple up entirely, it's okay. No big deal. I'm not even sure how much of this we're going to see once we add our white. And my hair falls out everywhere. Sorry, guys. I'm not sure how much of this pink we're going to see once we pull out the white gel pen. Okay. Oh, now I feel like I want more pink in this. So maybe, hold on. I gotta take a minute to think because maybe I'm overdoing it. Alright, let's go in with the white gel pen and then I'll decide if I want to add any more colors. So I am using a white Sakura jelly roll made in Japan. It's the 08, I think that's the size, I'm not for sure. But anyway, it's white and it's got this little lid on it. But there's other stuff you can use, like this is the Uniball Signo. This also works. It seems a little more off-white than my jelly roll. You can also use, uh-oh, it's not writing, hold on. You can also use white gouache or white acrylic paint or even whiteout if you're desperate. Now I'm gonna, this might be, I mean it shows ink in there, but I've had this a long time, so it might be drying up or something, but we'll give it a go. So what we're going to do is we're going to pull this white. Okay, no, that's not going to work. Let me pull out my other pans, and I know I just had it. So what did I do with it? Alright, I guess we'll do this one. This is also Uniball Signal, and we'll just give it a go. Let me see if it's going to work. Okay. Now, these are not as bright. The Jelly Roll really is so much brighter than these, in my opinion. And if you go over your black lines, don't worry about it. You can always bring a pencil, black pencil or a black pen in and go over them again. And then just add some highlights. And you definitely want to put some along the top. I like to put them everywhere. I might sometimes go a little overboard. And then do down here. Okay, so there's my little highlights, and this is looking much bluer than I expected, but okay. Once that dries, you can go over, add some more colors, and then take your, I think I'm going to use my black pen, but you might want to use a black pencil, because I've inked so many images and I still make mistakes with it. I'm not very good at it, but maybe you're better with the pen. And just go over anything that you might have gotten with your white gel pen. You can also like smudge it out and go over it with the markers, and not worry about, you know, tracing anything or whatever. But this also will make your wings stand out a bit. So there we go. Anyway, so yes, there is a dragonfly wing. Hopefully the colors look okay on this video because it's looking really weird on my camera. Maybe that's better. We'll see. I think I will go in with my colorless blender and blend this a little better. I'm not sure I'm feeling that. The pink feels like it has a little bit too harsh of a line. If you get your colorless blender or any of your markers in the white, you make sure that you pull it onto a piece of paper and get that off promptly. You don't want to ruin your nib, although if you do, you just buy a replacement. It's not the end of the world or anything. I'm just blending this stuff out a bit. There we go. Some other ways you can do this is to use a blue base. I like a blue base a lot for the dragonfly wings, like the B00 that I showed you here. That makes a good one. A B000, like an even lighter blue, would be even better. Okay, and the next thing we're going to do is move on to the Tattered Wings. Tattered Wings is what I call, what I really think of as like Amy Brown wings. Now, a lot of artists use this wing style, and I don't know, maybe someone did it before her, but it's the first time I remember seeing these sort of, I don't even know how to explain it. They don't look like insect wings. They look like tattered moth wings or tattered, I don't know, they look more like a fabric coming off the fairy's back than an insect wing or anything like that. So there's so much, I mean, you could do anything with this, anything at all. But what we're going to do is, well, let's do something, I won't go too bold. Let's do a 51 we're going to do sort of a khaki or earthy tone wing with some poppier colors in it. So this is 51, sort of an orangey skin tone. It's called Milky White, but I don't, oh my gosh, this camera, why? Why does it keep going back to auto? That's really getting on my nerves. Anyway, it's called Milky White, but it doesn't actually look like milk at all to me. Oh my goodness. Okay. And then that's 51, and then we're going to do 53, E53, which is, oh my gosh, this is going to drive me crazy. This right here, it's slightly darker, slightly toned down of the E51, and they both look sort of like flesh tones. Alright, so we'll take the E51 and we're just going to color this all in. First, let's take the colorless blender and soak up the page good and wet. That way, because we really are going to want to blend a little bit in this this wing, because it's going to be kind of streaky and a little stripy sort of. Well, you'll see. Okay, so I did colorless blender, soak it up. Now I'm taking the E51 and I'm just going to fill the whole thing in. And it'll be nice and soft color. And then I'm thinking for our streakiness, we'll make this like royal fairy tattered wings. And maybe do purples and pinks. Oh, I don't know. Or purple and green, maybe. Oh, I don't know. I should plan these things, right? Anyways, but the first thing we're going to do is take the E53 and we're just going to kind of plan out where we're putting the designs. So I think I want to do something like this. And then down here. Through there. And this way it's only slightly darker, so it doesn't stand out too much if you decide you don't like something and you want to try something else. And then just fool with this until you're sure you have what you like. Right, and then do the same thing here. And remember, the wing is behind the first one and it's sort of coming out and down like this. You don't want to go off. You want to try to focus your design coming out from here, from the base, right? Instead of it coming from the bottom side of the wing. So we're just going to pull it. Let's see if I can get any closer without my camera going nuts with the zoom. So just pull it down like this. Alright, and then I'm going to pull some up from the outer edge. And remember, it doesn't have to be perfect. This is a tattered, sort of messy wing. Alright, and now we'll take, let's do, we'll just do some purples. I like purple. Oh, I know. Let's take RV32, which looks like this, in case you're not using Copics. Sort of a toned down pinkish, slightly purple color. And we're gonna just kind of come in here and go along what we just did with the E53. just like so. And then let me spin this a bit. Okay, and then we'll pull it down off the side here. Easy peasy. Just like that, and then do it again down here on the bottom, and it's totally fine to see the E53, to not cover it all. You know, you want it to feather. It kind of helps with the blending anyway. Just like that. And now we will take a, I don't know about V12, maybe V4, V04. And this is pretty bold, so if you don't want to do bold colors, you might like an RV34 over this. But I'm going to do V04. And V04 looks like this. It's a bolder purple. It's called Lilac, and I think it's Lilac's a good name for it. My camera is showing everything a lot bluer than it actually is. So this is more of a red purple, but you know, you don't have to use these exact colors at all. The only thing that I will say is you want to start with a light color, define your design, and then even if you wanted to do a darker wing, you would draw out your design first. So maybe we'll do that with well, I'll do that in another video. Anyway, take your purple, and we're not going to cover everything. We're just going to pull it through. Let's see if I can put this out of the way where you can see what I'm doing a little easier. We're just sort of pulling it through a little bit here, just like this. And make sure you pull some down here. You want that symmetry. I mean, you don't want everything to be, you know, symmetrical, but it does add a little harmony. And just light touches, you know, rarely will you ever be shoving the marker down. For one, that is really bad for your nibs, and for two, you don't, you just don't need to. It's hard on your wrists, and you just don't need to. Alrighty, there's that. You can see. And then let's go down here and just pull it through a little bit. Remember, we want to leave some of those other colors out because they keep it interesting. We don't want any plain flat lines. Then pull it through here. And you follow, you know, as you can see, I'm not entirely following my design because I want that to show. I want all this variety. There we go. Guess I'll pull this up, but I think it looked better before I did. And that is what we have so far. Now you can take a darker purple, which is probably what I'll do. Let's do, oh, I don't know, VO8 might be too dark. What's this? VO6 probably won't be dark enough. Let's try V17. This is what V17 looks like. Yeah, I like that. And we're just going to do a little tiny bit of this. Just a little bit coming out here. And a lot of this inner part you won't see much of when you have a fairy body over it. So you just, you'll want this to sort of peek out from behind her back, this darker color. And you might even, I might even come in and add a little more of that V4 around. And then just on the edges, just a little on the edges. There we go. I love these wings. I think they're beautiful. And I know why everybody does them, because they are beautiful. But I don't want to be just like anybody else, you know. I like to do my own thing, so I like to use a bunch of different wings, and I hope that you enjoy a bunch of different wings too. So that was the V17. I'm going to go over this and bring some more of this V4 through here. Maybe around there. And, you know, notice that I don't get everything right the first time. I know, well, something my daughter does. I love her to bits, but if she doesn't get things right the first 1 or 2 times, she tends to throw the towel in, and I'm just like, what? That's not, you know, you're never going to get anywhere that way. Hopefully it's just, you know, that whole teenager thing. Because that is no way to live. You gotta get things wrong so you can get them right. And there is a sort of organic, slightly tattered, kind of Amy Brown inspired wing. And then, so right now, let's see, we've got our tattered Amy Brown inspired wing. We've got our messed up, because of course I took that ink pen and messed up the outline, but we got our dragonfly wing. You got the basic gist of it anyway. And then here is our simple wing. Now we're going to do the butterfly wing. And butterfly wings, you can do a lot of ways. I'm going to do pretty basic. We're going to make I'm not going to say a monarch butterfly, but it's going to be kind of like a monarch butterfly. So we're going to take our dark, our warm grays. Let's see, W7. Okay, I'm going to use my warm grays, which are W5, oops, which looks kind of like that, W7, which looks like that, and W9, which is basically the black. What I use is black because I don't really like, I seldom use a pure black, we'll put it that way. So W5, W7, W9, basically any warmer tone gray, or you could even use like a dark browns if you don't have grays, will work. Of course dark brown will be a dark brown wing rather than a black one, but it will work with the oranges that we're going to use on the inside. So first thing we're going to do is take the colorless blender and saturate this wing. Now what did I do with my colorless blender? Ta-dun, ta-dun. Ah, there it is. Alright, so just soak it up. And always make sure that your colorless blender doesn't have any color on the tip. It's not been a problem for me at all with my Copic colorless blender, but my Prismacolor colorless blender was notorious for carrying colors. So I try to be careful now. Alright, and then the first thing you want to do so you don't color over them is just color very neatly if possible. I'm not much for neat coloring myself, so don't feel bad if you're not real good at it either. But just sort of color around all these little details so that way we don't accidentally, or we're less likely to accidentally color inside it, you know, when we're doing the bigger stuff. And you can do, I'm going to do oranges on the inside, but you can really do any colors you want. The reason that I like warm grays for butterflies is because I find that warmer colors have a more alive feeling. So when you are coloring something that's meant to be alive, I think that warm neutrals tend to help give it that vibrance and aliveness, that organic living feeling. So I use my warm grays a lot. Okay, and then we're just going to do the same thing down on this bottom wing. Carefully go around the little details. And see, I got a little bit in there, but it's okay. It's not a big deal. And you can leave, you could skip this and just go straight to the W9 or just do W7 and W9. I just like to build, I like to build my colors, then I don't have to worry so much about streaks or missing spots or anything like that. So that was the W5, the lightest of the warm grays. Now I'm going to go over with the W7 and I'm going to do the same thing, being careful around the little details, and I'm going to leave the very edge of the butterfly wing that lighter gray as much as I can, because sometimes I mess it up, and it's okay if I do. It's no big deal. Just a little, it creates a little interest and around those details. Again, I'm going to try to leave some of that lighter gray showing on the butterfly wing. And then basically just coloring like we did with the lightest warm gray. Ooh, I went way into that one, but alright. I'll work with it. Okay, again down on the bottom, same as the top. Careful around those little details. Leave some lighter gray on the edges where you can. And just careful around these smaller details. And see, I just totally lost my edge there, but it's okay. Alright, now we're going to take that darkest warm gray. Oh, did I seriously just color that whole thing off screen? I'm so sorry. As you can see, we left a little bit of the light gray around here and stuff. And now we're just going to take that warmest, that W9 dark gray, and then warm gray, and then we're going to leave a little space around the details if we can, just to give them some highlight. It's not of the utmost importance or anything. And we're going to leave more space along the edge of the butterfly wing so that some of that W7 and some of that W5 is also showing. So just sort of like this. Oh, I went into that a bit, but it's okay. Then we'll do Just kind of take it along the bottom here. That way we got some of those highlights showing. And I don't usually like to color at this small of a scale. I'm more into big coloring. But I know a lot of you guys do cards and stuff, and so you do color at these smaller scales. So hopefully you're a little more careful than I am. I'm guessing you probably are. So, yeah. Okay, and then down here. Okay. Alright, and there we have that. So that is the outside of the wing. You can add more or less of the highlights as you wish or can tolerate. I'm not big on these little tiny spots, so yeah. Now we will get, because we're going to do it sort of in like, oh, excuse me, orangey, red orange, gold, monarch, butterfly sort of colors. We will use Y19. I think I have, okay, so I'm not sure where I was, so I'm just going to go over some stuff real quick. I'm using for the inside of the butterfly wing, I am using from lightest Y13, which is called Lemon Yellow, and it is sort of a cooler yellow. I'm using Yellow Ochre, which is YR23, and it's definitely a sort of a goldy, orangey yellow, and maybe Y19. Yeah, I like that. So what we're going to do is use Y19 as our middle color, and this is sort of a bright orange yellow. So first thing we'll do is take Y13, whoops, and color in all these open places. And there are a lot of different ways you can do this, just like all the other fairy wings. The way we are going to do it, I'm trying to think, do I want to make this stuff look 3D or do I just want to create a gradient? And I'm thinking, let's do, let's just do this. We'll make it a little 3D. So we're just going to shade along the bottom here with color number 2, our medium, our bright orangey, our medium level color. And in these smaller areas, you're probably going to cover most of it. Just think of that lightest yellow as a highlight and don't worry about it. And fill in these little areas. just like that. And then we will take the YR23 or our yellow ochre, our darkest warmish yellow, and add another layer. Now when I go on to do the colored pencils, you might want to watch that as well, because I'm going to try to do things a little differently. All of this stuff that I did with the markers you can do with the colored pencils. You really can. Just find colors that, just compare the color pencil colors that you have with the colors that I've showed you on the palette, and use them. And remember to keep your, you might have to do a couple layers because you want to use light layers with colored pencils. But you can do all of these same techniques with your colored pencils. So I think I'm going to do one a little bit darker, one more shade a little darker. Maybe YR18, YR16, let's see. Ooh, I got a mess over here. Let's see if this is a little darker. Kind of. We'll try. Can't hurt anything. And just go along the very bottom and along the side a little bit. Kind of like this. Dun, dun, dun. Usually I listen to music, excuse me, when I'm coloring. So if I break out in song, I apologize. I'm just, music gets me in my groove. Alright, so then let's, you can do this or not do this, totally up to you, but I'm going to add some little white dots through here with my white gel pen. And you know, this isn't drawn as a monarch butterfly, as in the designs and stuff in here aren't the same, but you can still get that kind of monarch butterfly effect with the colors you use, and little stuff like adding this in there. And of course you can also add some highlights if you want, particularly if you're doing darker colors on the inside. Instead of like yellow and orange, if you did purples or blues, you might want to add the white gel pen just to give it a little more dimension. And so I'll do a little one here. And that is our little butterfly wing. So now I'm going to start on the colored pencils. And if you don't use colored pencils, you might still want to follow along just to see some, because I'm going to try to do some different ideas with the colored pencils. But you know, you can just end the video right now if you don't, you know, use pencils. But I would still follow along, but that's me. Okay, so first I should say that I do not use my colored pencils as often as I do my markers. I used colored pencils for years before I ever really did much with markers. I just hadn't really been exposed to them. I mean, I played with Crayola markers and stuff, but I didn't do anything serious with them. I didn't really know how they worked and stuff. But I was pretty familiar with colored pencils. That said, I still can color with markers in like half the time it takes me to do similar with colored pencils. And this is because, mostly because I'm slow in general. I'm a big old sloth. But also because I like to, with colored pencils you can build up these really, really cool, rich colors by using a bunch of different colors and then layering over them, and just I mean, you can just play with it so much, and I tend to really get wrapped up in that. I really like putting, seeing what happens when I use this color over that color, and then I do this color again, and I will just be all day layering and blending and just going a little crazy with it. But I'm going to try not to do that today because we have limited time. So the first thing we're going to do is use for our simple fairy wing here in colored pencil. We're going to take Sky Blue Light. And if you're not using Prismacolor pencils, which is what I'm using, this is pretty much what Sky Blue Light looks like. It's sort of a baby powder blue, or well, a little toned down from baby powder blue maybe, or maybe a little toned up, I don't know. But it's sort of a it's definitely a light blue. So there that is. And we're just going to color over the whole very lightly. You know, always with colored pencils, you want your first layers to be pretty light. And we're going to go all in the same direction over the whole wing. Now, when you're coloring digital stamps, or I suppose probably any stamp, your pencils will have like a wax buildup that can cover your lines. So be prepared to go over the lines towards the end, especially if you do a lot of layers. So I did 2 layers of light blue pencil. You probably can barely even see it. Hopefully it doesn't go wonky wanting to. Okay. You barely even see it. Now I'm going to take, and now we're just going to do some little circular shading down here. And again, you see how you can barely see it. That's because I'm keeping my pressure really light. And you could do crosshatch or whatever you're more comfortable with. I really, for the most part, like my circular shading. I'm just pulling it up here, and then I'm going to do another layer. Again, I'm keeping my hand really light, and I'm leaving, you might be able to see the white line, you know, sort of along the thing. Okay, then we're going to do another layer here. And maybe pull some up around here so we can kind of create that rounded, just like that. Okay, and then the next thing I'm going to do is take Caribbean Sea. Oh, I probably should do a little, forgot to show you what this purple is called Lilac in the Prismacolors, and it looks like this. And I'm pushing down pretty hard so you can get an idea of what the tip will look like. And then that's what I just did this purple shading with, and now I'm using Caribbean Sea, which is a Prismacolor, and that's right here. And again, I'm pushing down firmly so you can get the color, but this isn't how firm you want to be when you're actually on your fairy wing. There it is. So you see what we have so far. And I'm just going to pull that just little sort of oval shading, not completely covering the purple, but through the purple to kind of darken up the deepest shadows, like down here especially. Just like that. Then down through here. And you want to make sure you have a good sharp point, because You just don't want, you want these circles to go where you want them to go. You don't want them everywhere, and you don't want to burnish by accident. As you can see, I'm using the same cardstock that I use for the markers. You can, contrary to popular belief, you can use colored pencils on cardstock. A lot of colored pencil artists like the Bristol Vellum Smooth, which is a thicker paper than most cardstock that you use for markers, but it's smooth just like cardstock. So it really depends on what kind of effect you like to get with your pencils. So now what we'll do is we're going to take chartreuse, and I'll put it down here for you. It's kind of like, it's kind of a bright yellow green, and I think this, I want to sharpen this tip a little bit. Whoops, I'm knocking everything over. There we go. And just come along the edge here. And you can do, you can use the same colors that I'm using here in your markers to do this exact same thing. This isn't like color pencil only. Just go by palette. This would probably, this looks kind of like the V12 that we used in the markers here. These blues are kind of like a B00, which I haven't used here. But you could also use, I don't even remember what that was, but you know, you can see that you can just use blues and greens and purples and stuff from your markers and do the same thing. And you would do it exactly the same way, except you would probably just do one layer and then go over it with the other color and then do your second layers. So yeah, now we're gonna, this chartreuse we're basically using to add some reflective green highlights, and again we're just keeping it light. We're not pushing down very hard. Okay, now the next thing I think I want to do is take that sky blue light again, that lightest blue right here, and go over everything very lightly. Do your little circles, and this might even, no, it's okay. You might want to make sure it's good and sharp. I think mine's sharp enough, but I always get a little unsure. Well, I don't always, but often. And keep pressure light, and we're just sort of pulling all these colors together with this light sky blue or sky blue light. Sky blue light. And just do 1 or 2 layers. I think I'm gonna stop around 2 here. Alright, then we're gonna take that lilac purple again, which we used right here, that lilac purple, and pull that through again. Again, you want light pressure and little circles. If you want to do lines, you can. If you want to do like you know, the hatching or what have you. I'm not really a hatching person. I always go overboard with it, so I tend to stick with my little circles. They are what works best for me. And we're going to pull that over this green, just down here, over the chartreuse, just down in the inside here, because this is the area that's closest to the body, so it's going to be a little more shadowed. Alright, then we're going to take that Caribbean Sea, this darker blue, and we're going to just go over all of this again with our little circles. or ovals, or however your little rounds go. And pull it up through here. Oh, got interrupted by the hubby. So anyway, so pull the Caribbean Sea through all your little shadow areas. And you might want to do slightly more pressure, but really not much. We're still keeping it pretty light. Just like so. Okay. Now, you could leave it like this and have a really pretty little wing. But I like to punch things up a bit. You know me, I like my crazy colors. So I'm getting some pink. Let's see, what is this? This is Deco Pink. And this is not a sharp point. So I'm going to sharpen it and be right back. Okay, now the thing with the pink is you got to be careful against your that chartreuse because it could turn pretty mucky. Now here's the pink that I'm using. Oops, and there we go. It's pretty light. Now what I'm going to do here is kind of test it with the chartreuse just to make sure that I'm not going to make something super ugly. Now I'm not worried about the pink with the blues because as we know red and blue make purple, so that's going to be fine. But red and green often makes brown and I don't want it to be too browny, and that looks pretty good. I don't mind that, so we're gonna do it. So let's see, we're just gonna pull this, we're gonna kind of put this, and we're using a little more pressure now between the green and purple areas here, and we're using just a little more pressure. I think I'm gonna pull this pink all through, I think, or at least all through here. Yeah, let's pull it all through here. I kind of like how that's popping next to that green. Yeah, I'm liking that a bunch. And then we'll pull it through here too. And I'm using a little firmer pressure now. I'm not doing it as light because we're getting up towards those final layers. But just remember, when you start adding more pressure, it gets harder to correct mistakes. Now I'm not going to go over the chartreuse and the highlights up here because this is definitely the brighter part of the wing. Our simple wing is brighter towards the top, darker towards the bottom, brighter out this way, and darker in this way. So I'm just going to put it, I'm not going to go over the yellow, but I am going to go over the purple. The yellow, I mean the chartreuse. It looks yellow, but anyway. And down through here. And I'm pushing a little more firmly now. Just like so. Alright, and now I think I want more of this purple on the bottom down here. So I'm going to pull out that same purple we've been using, the lilac. And I'm going to sharpen it again. Okay. And I'm going to use a little firmer pressure to pull this purple through. Now you do got to be careful with the purple over that chartreuse because it is quite a yellow chartreuse. It's quite a yellow green. And purple and yellow can sometimes make this funky green, gray, brown mud color. So you got to be a little careful there. But what I'm doing is I'm avoiding this yellow along the edge here because it's coming out towards the outside of the wing, and it's brighter out that way, and I just want it I just want this purple down here, you know, and I'm pushing kind of harder. I'm pushing a little harder, and then I'll do it down here and a little bit here. There we go. I might do a little bit right here, just a little bit, to give it that sort of rounded feeling. All right, now if this is not, if you like a little more depth, and you might, you can always take out a darker blue or purple or whatever color you like. You could even do a dark green. In fact, let's do a darker green. Let me see. Apple green, no. Oh, I think I found it. Okay, this is olive green. And let me, what did I do with my little palette? That's not it. Oh, here it is. Okay. So now we are going to do a darker green. I'll put it right here. This might not be dark enough, actually. Well, we're going to give it a try, because if not, we'll do a light layer, and then if it's not dark enough, we'll just go over it again with something else. Okay, so I've got my olive green, and I made sure my pencil's sharpened, and I'm just going to come in and very lightly, just in the darkest areas, like here on the inside and just along the bottom a little bit, add some green, just like this. And I do think I want to do a darker color, so I'm going to bring, because this adds a cool dimension, and this is what I was telling you guys, that sometimes I will just go crazy playing with different colors with the pencils. So I'm just going to do one more color. I'm going to do a dark purple or a dark something. Here, we'll do black raspberry. Let me sharpen it. Okay, you guys can't say I didn't warn you. I will get crazy with my pencils. So anyway, here is our black raspberry. It's sort of a maroon burgundy sort of color. It's got some brown notes in it, but it's not as brown as it might be looking on the camera. It's more like a, well, a mulberry color would work fine. And now we're just going to pull this in just in the very, very, very darkest. Oh, there we go. Just along here. And I'm not doing circles so much because the lines are so little. I just want a little tiny bit here. And then just along, and yeah, there we go. And then just along the edge of that highlight, right there. Then we'll pull some, just a little bit, right there, and right there. And there we go. There is a very woodsy little wing, and you can use, I'm going to use some some white gouache to add a little bit of dimension, a little highlight to this. And actually I will try with my pen first, because I never can get pen to work over the colored pencils, so I usually use gouache. Yes, well, I got a little bit going on here, but I don't use this pen much, so you see we got a little bit of, we'll give this pen a try. So we'll just add a little bit of shine here, maybe a little bit up here, just like that, right? And that's cute. And if you you know, if you're really feeling shiny, you can pull it up back here as well, but I think I liked it better with just the top done. However you like it though. And that is a simple fairy wing in colored pencils, and it's pretty woodsy colored pencils. It's not as vibrant as this one, because I wanted you to see, you know, different kinds. But you can do this exact same thing with markers, just like you can do exactly this with pencils. Just choose the same colored pencils as the markers I used here, and use the same color markers as the pencils I used in this one. Simple, easy peasy. Alright, now this one we are going to do a I guess we'll start with this blue again. The sky blue light. That's this blue right here, this lighter one. And again, we're just going to go over the whole wing. You can try to avoid the black lines if you don't want to have to go over it again with colored pencil later, which you may have to do because colored pencils are usually wax or oil based, and they will put a cloud, like it will sort of, it will put a wax, basically it puts a wax buildup or a buildup of some sort on your line, so you have to go over them again to make them defined if you want to. Sometimes this works out pretty good, depending on effects you're going for. So that was 2 layers of light pressure sky blue light Prismacolor pencil. The next thing we will do, and we're going to go a little more, we're going to get a little more out there with the colors on this, because colors on a iridescent wing can get pretty wild. And I'm going to see, here we go, this is a good wild one. This right here is neon pink. Now this probably, actually I'm not going to use this because I used neon yellow in a colored pencil piece before, and the neon does not show up for my scanner. So but you can use neon pink if you want to, if you're not worried about it not showing right when you scan it in. Okay, we're going to use plain old pink. That's what it looks like. Colored up. Really, any pink will work. Don't, you know, any pink will work. We're going to make sure we got a good sharp tip, and then we're just going to come in, and we're going to basically shade the bottom half here. And I'm just doing zigzags. You can do zigzags or circles, whatever you want to do. Here, I'll do circles here. The main thing is to remember to keep your pressure light. Keep it light. Alright, and then let's do some of that lighter pink we were using, the Deco pink, which is right here. This really light pink, and we're just kind of I'm just gonna blend that in a little bit just to pull it around. So we don't want to, we want the pink, a lot of the pink, we don't want it too dark everywhere though. And again, we're using light pressure, just blend it through a bit. And you can go into the blue more with this because it's so light. Alright, now let's do purple. Let's do this lilac. Same purple we used before. This right here. And we're just going to do in the shadows. And light pressure, little circles. Just like that. We don't want to cover all of that pink, we just want to do a little bit. Do 1 or 2 light layers. Just like so. Now, we did chartreuse last time. Let's pull out some yellow. Let's see. What is this? Okay, we'll try Deco Yellow. And that looks like this right here. It's pretty light. And we're going to use it just along the highlight areas. Like this. And we'll pull it down through here. And do I want to do the underside yellow? No, we're not going to do. We will do the underside. Let's do the underside a seafoam kind of green. Like, okay, it's not seafoam green, but it's got that feeling. It is light aqua, and this is what it looks like. Sort of a bright green with some blue in it. Oh, I guess not really bright. It's more of a medium, but it's got a lot of tone to it. It's a very rich hue. And we're just gonna we're just gonna bring it down here lightly, just along the bottom, very lightly. We don't want to go crazy with this because it will lose its magic. Too much of this and it'll look overdone. And then we'll just pull it right around here, right through there. Yep, just like that. I might do a little more pressure through here. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. And some down here, through there, and through there. Okay, so that was light aqua. Now I feel like it still needs a little more. What do I want to do a little more of? Do I want to do pink? Do I want to do purple? I think I want to do this. Let's go back to pink. Just plain old regular pink, which I believe was this right here. And we're just going to go over the a little more pressure and pull it through what we've done before. Just a little bit towards the bottom of our pink shading, our pink depth, just like this. Alright, and now what I think we'll do is take our Deco Pink, our lightest pink, this right here, very light pink, and we're just going to kind of blend it all a little bit. You use slightly more pressure, not too much, and just sort of bring it all through that pink. Don't do too much in the green because we don't want to lose it. It could turn kind of brown next to this pink. And we're going to use a little more pressure here and pull it through just like that. Dun -dun. And there's that. And now I think we need to move on. Now we will try with the pen first because that would certainly be easier. We're going to do the same kind of highlights we did here, except hopefully I don't mess it up and go all out of the thing, which sometimes does happen. And do, there we go. So do a little bit there and pull it in, and then there and here. And do as much or as little as you want. It's it's preference. Fantasy images are the best because you basically do whatever you want and it works. So there is our colored pencil insect dragonfly type wing, and I'm going to fix this. I'm going to show y'all how to fix this real quick. You just take your white pen and go around where you messed up with your ink, your black ink. This is why I use pencils, because if I have any caffeine at all, I will get shaky. So usually I try not to drink caffeine on my drawing days or coloring days because I am very sensitive to it. Okay, so there is that, and I think it's beautiful. Now, this one, we're gonna do something crazy. Actually, some of you will probably say tacky, but I don't care because I color how I wants to color. All right, so for this, we're gonna start again with some, I know what we're gonna do. We're gonna do zebra print. We're gonna do zebra print fairy wings. Oh my goodness. All right, so first thing we want to do is decide what color do we want the base of our zebra print fairy wings to be. And I think since we've done some blue and we've done some pink and we've done some purple, I'm thinking we need to do something. What? Let's do red. Okay. Hopefully it works out, guys. And this is sadly how I often do my life. I'm just kind of like, all right, let's try this, see what happens. But you know what? It's fun, and that's what counts. All right, so we're using this red, which is, it's magenta. There, I should know that considering it's pretty much my hair color most of the time. Mine's actually a little darker because I hate to bleach my hair all the time. Now I'm going to sharpen this because it is not as pointy as I want. You see how flat that is? And then I will be right back. Okay, so we're going to do this one in red, and we definitely want some kind of black, but I don't know if I really want it to be black. Yeah, it's going to be black. So, and then what are we going to do the base color? I kind of just want to leave it white. Okay, let's do it. Do I want to do zebra strip? Oh, I just don't know. Now I'm confused. Now I don't know. Alright, let's take a light color. We'll take this deco pink. Okay? Just so if I decide I don't like this, we can try something else. So take the deco pink and we're just going to kind of draw this in. Just like this. And if you're not surrounded by zebra print like I am, I'll have to show you that one day when I have my studio clean. Then you might want to pull up some zebra print patterns on your Google, you know, and just do like that. Okay, and hopefully you can see that pretty good on here. I'm just sort of drawing this in. And of course you want to pull some over here. Hopefully I like this. I just don't know. I don't know. And then down this way, we're going to kind of pull it up through there. Just like that. And down through here. Okay, so now I'm going to take the red and I'm just going to color in the areas that I just drew out. And if if this is too much drawing for you, then you can do exactly the same thing we did over the markers, where you basically just scribble in some little squiggly lines in. You can do it all the exact same way I'm doing this, except with pencils. So, and very lightly I'm going to go in with this and color it in. And I'm not going for perfection. I'm not worrying about going over the lines. It's not going to be the end of the world or anything like that. There she is, Miss Zebra Butterfly Wings. Except they're not really butterfly wings, are they? They're tattered wings. I'm just sitting here thinking, what am I going to do with these color pencil butterfly wings? Like, should I do monarch again, but with different colors on the inside? Should I do rainbow? Oh my gosh, rainbow with pencils. I might have to pass on that one. Oh. Again, I'm keeping the pressure light. Keeping it light. And it's, you know, especially with the red, because we're going to pull some black in here, you feel free to go out of your lines, you know, because we want to leave some of this red showing when we bring the black in. So it's sort of like black and red and white, and it's zebra. It's zebra, but not, you know, exactly zebra. We're just kind of like inspired by zebra. I think I want some more up here. We're inspired by zebra, which is generally how I do things. I don't, I seldom say, oh, I want it exactly like this. No, I don't. I say, oh, I really like that. I wonder if I can do that in a way that's unique to me, that reflects my style. You know, like, how can I make zebra print a reflection of my passions and stuff? And well, I do love red, so, and I do love fairies, and yeah. So then I'm going to turn this around and get started over here. And like I said, you don't, you know, don't stick to your little pattern like it's religion or something. Just, you know, feel free to go out of lines. Feel free to change things up if you're feeling like you want to try something else. And I might, yeah. It's not, and you don't have to be really neat. You do want to keep your pressure kind of light though, because you don't want to make this, yeah, you don't want this to be too dark or too burnished, because then you won't be able to put the black over it, which is what we are going to do next. And generally I don't advocate using black in your colors, but for the sake of time and simplicity, we're totally doing it today. So this is just black. I'll put it down here for you, but I feel a little silly because I feel like you probably know which one of your pencils is going to match black. Or markers if you're doing this with markers. Now I'm just going to outline where I want the red to show through. So you see I'm kind of doing like that. And then I'm going to lightly color it in with the black. And you still see the red through, and that's exactly how it should be right now. Same thing here. And over here. And through here. And you'll know if you made your red too thin because you won't see it once you start adding your black. It just means go in and thicken up your red a little bit. Or, you know, maybe you're doing this with purple. Purple would have been pretty, but I use purple all the time, so I have to always get myself in check. Like, hold on, you just used purple and like everything you did. Time to move on, Amanda. Time to move on. So then we're going to pull through there. And we want that red to show. I'm not sure if I want to show there. There we go. And you might, you know, don't ever be afraid to flip the page around. Oh my goodness. Don't ever get stiff when you are, oh my. Don't ever let your coloring get stiff. Because you want to be loose and open to change and open to different possibilities. Because when you do, sometimes you'll get an idea and you'll be like, oh, I love that idea. I'm glad I thought of that. And of course, sometimes you'll be like, oh my gosh, I wish I was stuck with the original plan. But whatever, you live and you learn. Rihanna, who is like a pop singer, if you haven't heard of her, I'd be pretty surprised, but just in case. She has a tattoo, and I think it's on her shoulder or her neck or her back or something, I don't know where. But it was something her grandma always said to her. It was never a mistake, always a lesson. And my goodness, that is the best piece of advice that I've ever heard or read from a celebrity's tattoo. Maybe the only advice I ever read from a celebrity's tattoo, but I liked it and I always think of it now. I always say to my kids, never a mistake, always a lesson. Never, oh, it's never a failure, always a lesson. I think that's what she actually has tattooed on her. Anyway, so now we're just going to do another layer of that same red. And we're going to do it over everything, and we're going to keep it light. Just like that. And we're going to take it, we're not going to take it over everything. We're not going to go over the white. Not yet anyway. And we're just taking it over where we've colored black and red. And this is a good time to go through and see if you want to add some more somewhere. Stuff like that. And I am still getting over this cold, although I am so much better than I've been the past few days. I actually wanted to make that unicorn girl, my Lala unicorn girl, into a color along, and I recorded it, and I was just hacking so much that it was ridiculous, and I was even slower than usual, so it just didn't work. I was pretty bummed, but oh well. So I thought, well, I've been meaning to do this tutorial forever. So I was just like, I'm going to do the fairy wings because I'm feeling better now. And this is something that hasn't, I mean, maybe it's been done. I haven't seen it if it has. And I don't know, one might expect from a girl who names her website after fairies, right? Alright, now we are going to take the black and go over the black areas again. And we'll use a little more pressure this time, but shorter strokes. I'm going to keep those strokes really short. That way you don't get a little out of hand and go willy-nilly outside of your lines. That is one thing I like about pencils better than, markers better than pencils, is they are so much easier to correct. And if your pencil is getting dulled down, make sure you sharpen it. Mine's almost there. I definitely am not going to go into my little lines until after I sharpen it. But I can get through the bigger areas with it as it is. And now I'm thinking, how am I going to shade the white, or do I want to shade the white? I think I I think I feel compelled to shade a little bit towards where the body would be. The rest you probably get away without adding any additional color to. So let's see. I'm going to finish coloring this and then we'll toy with some ideas on the shading of the wings, since we've got the pattern colored up. And I'm not pushing real, oops, see I did just then. But it's okay, we can just pull it down, add some more red around it. Like, yeah, I love the pencils. I love all the depth you can create with them, but it's just so much easier to fix your mistakes with the markers. Now, if you're using really textured paper, which this isn't, it becomes a little better, a little easier to correct your mistakes with colored pencils. But yeah. So now I'm taking the same red we've been using, and I'm going to fix my mistake down here by pulling out some more red and pushing a little harder, adding a little more pressure to the red that I've used before and going over again. We're not going to go over the black this time, just the red. And we are using a little more pressure. And then up through here. And then I think I want to color this in red too. So I'm just going to do harder pressure here since I don't have the layers built up, but that'll work. And now if we want to, we could do maybe a gray to do a little bit of shading. Okay, I'm going to give it a go with this 50% warm gray. This is what it looks like. I'm going to sharpen it because this is too dull for what I'm going to be using a very light hand for this. And I'm going to sharpen it, be right back. Okay, now with a really light hand, I'm just going to do a little bit here, up where the body would probably be, you know, sort of casting a shadow on the wings. And remember, you keep a light hand. And then I want to, oh, was I not even in, oh my goodness. So I did some right here. Light hand, go over everything, the red, the black, all of it, the white. And then I'm just going to do down here under the wing, just like that. Just to have a little cast shadow from the wing. And remember, you're using really gentle circles. And then you can, I'm going to do a little darker spot here just because I feel like it might be a little shadowed by the upper wing. And then you can do a little more pressure, a little darker, just on the inside of the shadow here. And just right under the wing. And there you go. It's sort of a zebra print, black, red, white. You could do black, purple, white. You could do all kinds of colors. And of course, all of this, you can do the exact same thing with markers, or you could do this with pencils. So do not discriminate. You can use whichever medium you like and do all of these, all 8 of these. So now we're going to move on to the color pencil butterfly wing. And over here we did sort of mom art colors with the red and the white and stuff. I think we're still going to do black, but maybe we'll do rainbow inside the wings and do more of a gradient kind of thing. So I guess we will start with 1 minute. We're going to need some warm grays. We're going to use black. Well, starting from lightest, we're going to use our 50% warm gray, which is like right here. Then black and 70% warm gray. And these are all Prismacolor pencils I've been using, but you can just compare your colors to what you're seeing. So it's 50% warm gray, 70% warm gray, and black. That is what we're going to do the border of the wings with. So first we're just going to do a light layer with a sharp 50% warm gray. You know, pay particular care around the little details. And we're using a light hand. And if you watched how we did the markers, we're going to do the shading exactly the same. Be a little easier to keep some of those edges light, since these pencils have pointier tips than the markers generally. If you're keeping it sharp, as you should. And you don't have to be particular about streaks or white showing or anything like that down in this early layer, because it's all going to be covered later anyway. Okay, and now we're going to take the 70% warm gray, that is our medium gray, that would be that right there, the medium gray. And we're just going to, I'm going to sharpen this because this is not sharp enough. Whenever you're working in little areas, you want it to be as sharp as you can get it. So we're going to leave some of that warm 50% gray, that lightest gray, showing along the edges as like a highlight. If you mess up or whatever, it's no big deal. It's just little, just a little detail. And you can do lines or circles or whatever as you're filling in, because most of these will be covered with the, most of this will be covered with the black. So yeah. Well, my hand's pretty much covering this, isn't it? Let me, one good thing about the pencils is you can kind of help yourself control the pressure you use by holding the pencil further from the tip. Now I'm just doing it so you can see what I'm doing a little better, but you can also do it to help if you're, you know, really heavy-handed. This will help a bit, just holding it further away. And we don't want too much reflection over on the inside where the body will be, because that is going to be one of our darkest spots. Just like that. And again, don't worry about perfect. Much of this will be covered with black, except just for the little highlight areas. The lighter grays really serve as sort of a wash of color, so no white. So basically you don't have to do a whole lot of burnishing or anything on this smoother paper to get the black as solid as you'd like it. Okay. Now we are going to take black and still with light pressure, we're going to just go over everything and leave some of that light along the top as those lighter grays along the top as a highlight. And I'm using little circles that in my mind, the circles help to fill the white areas best, but I do feel like this is going to need to be sharpened, so I think I'm going to do that real quick. So now it's a little sharper, and that's important because this is small and we have all these little areas I need to get around. And you can do as many layers of this black as you feel you need to get it as dark as you want. I'm going to do one layer of light pressure, and then I'm probably going to do a second with firmer pressure, and that will most likely get me to the level of darkness I want. If you like this lighter, you don't even need to do another layer. I like a little darker. I feel like the darker color will make the black, make the rainbow pop a little more when we get to the rainbow insides. I should probably do a little research on butterfly wings. I know what the different parts are called, huh? Whatever these areas are. So light pressure, circular motion. And definitely get behind this little, the bottom part. And remember to leave some light out for highlight. And if you go over a little bit of it, no big deal, it's fine. Spin this or something so I can, where was it? Oh, there it was. I'm holding it far out so you can kind of see what I'm doing a little bit. When I come in and do my darker layer with more pressure, I'm probably gonna have my hand in the way, unfortunately, but I'm just doing the same thing I'm doing here, except I'm pushing down more. So here it is, one last layer with a bit more pressure so I can get it, no, I don't want it terribly dark, but I want it pretty dark, so I'm pushing down with a good amount of pressure. I don't need to do so much that my wrists are hurting or anything, because this is although this is 100-pound paper, it's pretty smooth, so I'm not really fighting against tooth much. And I like that. And just remember, leave your highlights alone if you can. If you accidentally go over them, it's no big deal. No big deal at all. Remember, you want this to be dark because that is closest to the body. And I think I got a little bit too much light up here, so I'm gonna just pull that down a little bit. And just wipe away those crumbles, and make sure that you're careful when you do, because sometimes it'll be a thicker crumble and it'll actually smear that color over your page. So just be careful when you're doing it. Just do it lightly, because you don't want to inadvertently add some extra streaks to your drawing or coloring or whatever you're working on. Although if you do, just be creative and accommodate it. You would be surprised at what neat stuff happens, what neat stuff you can do by fixing mistakes. You know, by having a mistake you need to fix. Sometimes they are indeed a blessing in disguise. Alright, so that is as black as I'm going for. Now I thought we should do a rainbow gradient going, do I want it to go towards, or I think we'll take it from red to purple out this way. So inside will be more red. And we're going to use colors that we already used. So except for orange, I'm going to have to pull an orange out. So we will be using this red, which is magenta actually, and we will use this yellow, which is deco yellow, and we will use chartreuse, this green, and we will use no, we'll do this blue, I guess. We'll do this blue, which is Caribbean Sea, and we will do lilac purple. And then let me pull an orange out. And we'll do this Spanish orange, which is really sort of an orange yellow. And we'll see how they look, and if they if I feel like we need some more colors, I'll just pull it out. I like to wing it. That's kind of my way. Okay, so let's see what we got going on here. So we'll start with our magenta or red or whatever reddy color you want to use, and that's totally fine. And we'll just do light pressure on the very inside. Just like this. And then we're going to go on to that Spanish orange. And we're going to pull it through that red a bit. We want it to blend, but we're still keeping the pressure kind of light, but do a couple layers. Just like this. See how it's blending into that red. And we're going to pull the magenta or red out again and just do another layer. There we go. Same pressure. If you're not getting coverage, you can do a little more pressure. And make sure you pull it up into that Spanish orange a little bit. Now we're pulling out that deco yellow, and we're going through the orange and into its own little spot, just like so. Making sure to blend it in with that orange. just like that. And now we're going to use that chartreuse, pull it through the yellow a bit. And just a little bit, just a tad on the edge of these. Oh, I pushed a little hard there. You see that? That's what happens when you push too hard. Anyway, it'll do. And then just a little on the edge there. Now we'll get our Caribbean sea blue, and we're also going to pull that through the green, and we're going to be gentle-handed, but we're going to do a couple layers so we can get it good and dark, just like so. And pull it down in here, just right there. Oops, I missed a spot. We'll come back to that. Do just a little bit here. Just a little bit there, and maybe right here. And then let's fix this. This I think would be mostly yellow and a little green. Excuse me. Right there, and then let's pull the purple in. And you can just do light pressure over the blue and then make the pressure a little firmer out once you're past the blue. Just like that. And I think I want to go over the blue again. Firmer pressure because I want it to be pretty solid. I don't want to see too much of that white under there. And that's one of the great things about cardstock is you really don't have to do a whole bunch of layers to get that smooth finish. But you might lose some lines in here that you want to go over. I'm just going to use my black pencil. See how we kind of lost our edge there? Maybe right there. You know, it's that wax bloom over your lines. Now, if you want to add some shading inside here, you can always take just like we did up here, you can take that warm 50% gray, and you want to be very light-handed. Okay, so if you want to add a little shading in the gradients here, and I really don't think you need to, but if you want to, you can use that 50% gray again, which is the lightest gray we've used, and just add very light pressure layer. Very light pressure. Maybe we'll just do them along the edges like this. And there you go. I hope that you've enjoyed this tutorial to color Faery Wings. Remember, you can use markers instead of colored pencils for these designs, just like you can use colored pencils instead of markers for these designs. Thanks for being a part of Faery Ink. I hope you have enjoyed the birthday celebrations, and hope to see you again soon. Bye-bye.